and there was a great big, well, I don't know, tank it was. A great big tank in the back, and they put chemical in that with water, and that made a gas. Now, the electricity were in the bigger cities, and we weren't that close to a big city, and so when electricity came, we had to pay for the lines to come out to the farm. And a lot of the smaller farmers, they couldn't afford that. So Dad would get it out there, and then if they hook in, they'd have to pay him. But reason why I think my dad had more money than some of these, like I said, we started out as like a little house on the prairie with a few pigs, enough to live by. And then it came kind of the boom, and my uncle said, come to South Bend, Indiana, and I'll get you a job. So we moved up to South Bend, rented our little farm. I wasn't born yet, and Dad started working in Studebaker. You remember the name of Studebaker? And that was kind of like the boom. And you could get jobs, but Dad hated it because they worked a lot of overtime. They were trying to make these cars quick. Like I said, this had been in, what, 25? And I was born in 1919. I get mixed up with my dates, and I don't know if you guys keep your dates right or not. But then Dad and Mom made good money there. He had to work overtime a lot, got paid real good. And so Dad hated it, though, because he hated factory work. He liked to be his own boss and be outdoors. So anyway, but my mother loved it. She had electricity, she had indoor water, she had a bathroom, she had a wash machine, she did not want to go back to the farm. So Dad said, well, I'll take you on a big trip and I'll remodel the house. So that's, like I said, they'd saved all their money, and we went on a trip to Canada, Niagara Falls, and Washington, D.C., and Dad then came back and he remodeled the house, put a furnace in, and we didn't have all this stuff. And also, he fixed the farm up so it would sell pure milk. I don't know if you know what that means, but after we milked with the milking machine, we had to cool it down, and Dad fixed a gasoline engine. I guess you guys know what that is, when we didn't have electricity. And so eventually then, now I've got to stop, I got to see where I am. My mind isn't that sharp. Going back that many years, that's a lot of years. I almost lived a century. If I lived many more, my sister did live till she was 102. And I really don't care about living that long, except I'm thankful that I'm healthy. I'm thankful I don't hurt, I don't ache in pain. So, and I got a good life, and I'm living I'm like you guys. This is another phase in my life. With these kids, I've been in a phase with them, and it's been wonderful. And you know, I tell you guys too, you know how fortunate you are living in Georgia. It's a lovely place to live. Especially, I've lived, well, a lot of different places. I can't begin to tell you all the places that I've lived. I think I love the weather best in Key West. But I really love right here in Georgia. It's great. But we're moving. So this is another stage, just like you guys. Right now is the beginning of your future. And it's the beginning of my new phase. I've had several phases in my life, and I had 5 children, and I lost 2 boys, and I have 3 girls left, and I've lived with each one of them. And then I come down to Mark's, and I was looking for a assisted living place, and I started living with them. And Mark said one day, when I was waiting for a place to get into, he said, now Grandma, why don't you live with us? And I said, oh, you don't want me to live with you? Yeah, we do. I said, are you sure? Are you sure? Cindy, are you sure? Yeah, we did, and so, we do. So I said, okay, and now I've been there a year, and I've loved every minute of it. And, I've learned a lot, and I've tried to teach these kids. But one thing you kids are gonna have good, if you're like these kids, you're very polite. That's gonna stand out first in a job. Believe me, they're gonna watch you and see, yes ma'am, no ma'am. I used to go back and try to teach my kids that. Well, they said, Mom, they'll think we're crazy going up in here and saying that. They didn't do that up in Indiana, where we were from. And you probably wonder about that. Well, I don't know. I don't know why you kids have got that. You're evidently taught in your homes, but that the good and advantage when you start going into a job of something, a job or anything, they're gonna look, that's gonna put you up here. And now I'm gonna ask questions. I don't know what else to say right now.
Talk about the Great Depression.
Oh, yeah. My dad, I said, had worked at Studebakers, was a boom. Well, in '29, and they had the Great Depression. And by that time, we had come back to the farm, and Dad had remodeled everything in the milking, and we were making more money because of selling grade A milk. They would come and pick up the milk in the morning in a big truck, the 8-gallon cans. And then that was before the Depression in '29. And so that was bad. You remember seeing people walking the streets for jobs. But I was young enough that it didn't faze me. But also, we were living on the farm that my dad had fixed up. Yeah, that made more money. We never were rich, but we always had some money. And then Dad put electricity on the farm, and then eventually we milked 30 cows with a milking machine. And let me tell you, a year or so ago, I went back home, and there was a young man that was a little younger than me, had gone to Germany, and with the computers, they could milk cows and not touch them, not even being in the barn. Can you believe that? Those computers let the cows in, let them out, put the milking machines on them. I just couldn't hardly believe it. And they only, the computers did it all, and they run the computers. But that's how fast knowledge, isn't that what the Bible speaks about, knowledge increased? Look back, way back there, when we just had a few cows, just enough to make a living. And not a good living either. Eventually then we got a car, and when you stop and think about that, how far it has come. You sit around on those little iPhones, and you can do most anything. I'll ask Cindy something, and she'll say, well, let me see. And it's so far above what I've started with when I was younger. You kids won't realize it till maybe later on, I don't know. But just remember that you kids are, right now, is your future. Whatever you decide to do, but most of all, take Jesus with you. That is the main thing. Don't just go to church. It was a long time I did that, just went to church. And if they said you go to heaven, I said, well, I've been pretty good. I haven't murdered anybody and I don't steal. But that isn't it. It's knowing Jesus Christ is your Savior. And so that's what I've lived my life, and the Lord has given me joy. I'm old, but I still have joy. Even Pete teasing Whiatt here, and he has joy teasing me. But I have joy because I love people. That's one thing. Love should just saturate everybody. Love everybody. And that's one thing I'd like for you to say. Love everybody, no matter who it is. Poor, rich, black, or white. Everything. And God will love you for it. Because He created everything. And He created each one of us. Sometime I've thought about this idea, but I can't do it now. but how God made a chicken. And you think this is crazy, but that chicken lays an egg. I'm not gonna tell you that. No, I can't. That's too far off. I wanna ask you questions now. But it is something of what God has done for us. Now,
Grandma, before you ask questions, tell them what you did for a living.
what I did, I was a hairdresser for 40 years. And see, on the farm, before this, women really didn't cut their hair or get permanents or anything like. So I went to beauty school, and then on the farm then, Dad built me a little beauty shop there in the, on the farmhouse, and I was a hairdresser for 40 years. And then I come to different, when you live this long, you sure do go through a lot of phases. But Jesus was with me, every one of them. And I'm so thankful that I can tell this in the school. I couldn't do this everywhere. They'd probably come and take me out. You know, they wouldn't let me talk. And you can be so thankful. Because to me, that's the answer. That is the answer of your future, is letting Jesus lead and guide you. And I think that's about all I've got to say, unless you have questions. And I don't know all the answers. Remember that.
Is there anything you want to ask her?
So when did you get the first car?
Pardon?
When did you get the first car? Like, how old were you?
Well, it wasn't mine, it was my folks. I think I was about 6. No, I think Dad bought, when I was supposed to be a boy, yeah, I had a sister, and I was supposed to be a boy, but I wasn't a boy, I was a girl. And so, I think they were celebrating, so they got a car. But, Mom wasn't happy when, she was all right, but I was pretty much of my dad's tomboy. I remember when she took me to town and got me a boy's haircut, and girls didn't even get their hair cut. She was so upset with my dad to think he tried to make a boy out of me. But I loved going with him on the farm. I could remember laying in the ditch and him planting corn with these 2 horses. Now, you don't know what I'm talking about, but they were planting corn, and I could hear this is like this, laying in the ditch, hearing that, laying in the sun. But I loved that. I was a kid. And then we went, like when we went on this trip, we went in a Model T, 4 of us. And you've seen Model Ts. They're not very big, if you remember. And we pitched a tent every night. I don't know if I told you that or not. But we didn't go to, there were probably rooms for rent, but we didn't go to motels. And we cooked our meal out on a little
Fire.
burner. I don't know what it was, gas burner, I guess. I was only 6 years old, so I don't know what all went on.
So,
But I know that I enjoyed life. All this time, really, I've enjoyed it. The Lord has been really good to me.
so,
But I've trusted Him and went through ups and downs, and I guess that's about.
He's got something to add to it.
so you didn't have your parents didn't have any vehicles or anything? They were just,
Not until I think I was born. I don't think so.
Horse and wagon.
Yeah, I don't remember much going in a wagon and horses like that.
Her little house.
Yeah, I don't remember much of that. Because by that time, they had these, like I said, I was born in 1919, and I think the Fords came on in 1908. I believe I remember they've said, but I didn't remember it then, because, you know, at that time I didn't care much about it. I remember riding in the buggy with my aunt, and I remember like a kid laying over the side and watching that wheel go around in the mud. But that's about all I did. I don't remember going in a horse and buggy or anything like that.
Tell them a little about the price changes from now till when you were a little girl.
Do what?
The price changes from when you were a little girl to now, like gas and stuff like that. Do you remember?
Yeah, gas was probably 15 or 18 cents a gallon. But when you stop and think, there wasn't a lot of it sold, because they didn't have cars. But eventually then they began to get cars, and that's when the industry began. When they got these cars and everything that went, then when the electricity come, you can imagine how that's changed. already from, I'll bet you remember a time when you didn't have near as much electric stuff, or near as much, whatever you call it, growth in all this knowledge. God said there would, knowledge would increase, and it has really increased. I haven't increased much in my knowledge, but I'm enjoying it all. I'm enjoying listening to these kids, and I want to tell you, you can be so thankful that you're in a school like this, that they teach Jesus Christ, and you keep Jesus Christ in your heart, and you will have joy, and you will have direction, and that's what we really need, direction. And if you take the wrong path, even if you stumble, God will bring you back. But you always suffer for that. There was 27 in my class, and there's only 2 of us left. Another lady and me, 2 of us left. She lives in Indiana, and she's worse off than me. She can't hear, or she can't see. She used to could play the piano just beautiful, by ear, and I never could do that. But then I talked to her lately, and I asked her if she'd go to nursing homes and play. She can't do that anymore, and that makes me feel so sad that now I can't play the piano, never could. So I'm doing pretty good just doing what I always did. Too much of anything. I thought the other day, I believe maybe I could give a permanent. And I thought, no, I better not. I do cut my own hair once in a while. I'm not hurting anybody else.
Grandma, tell them about your sister, the song she wrote, like the bass for the Notre Dame theme song.
Yeah, Star City. We lived in a little town, it was 320. Can you believe that? And we lived 2 miles from there. So, you know, it was kind of out in the country. And, yeah, she graduated during the Depression in 32, and she died not too long ago. She was 102. Well, almost 102, yeah.
And then tell them about the song she wrote.
Oh, well, no, High Notre Dame, I don't remember it. I remember the song, but I couldn't sing it.
You just say the words.
High Notre Dame, and it was Star City. Her boyfriend was a basketball player, and so she turned the Notre Dame song into a Star City song. And I hope you guys all just praise the Lord, and well, like I said, boy, right now is the beginning of your future. You think about that. That's serious. You know, once in a while you'll see somebody's done something wrong, and they're in jail or in prison, and that's sad. Just doing for some little thing that didn't amount to anything. Don't even have to murder anybody to get in jail, do you? No more. Well, anyway, I'm so thankful to be able to talk to you guys, and I don't want to go over my time. I don't know, probably already had.
Do any of y'all have any more questions?
What was your favorite decade?
Frederick, what?
Decade, like time that you lived in, like the Roaring '20s, the Great Depression, the Big Boom, stuff like that.
No, probably, my first husband, we lived 40 years together, and he was not a Christian. He had smoked heavily, and he died of emphysema. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's not good. And and he was not a Christian, and he accepted the Lord on his deathbed. Now, he missed all that time of serving God, because you really miss something if you don't serve the Lord. And so I married again, and he was a Christian, and we lived on a farm. We were snowbirds, which, you know, you go to Florida in the winter and go back home. He had a little farm back home. And then he died of open heart surgery, and then I married another one that was a pastor that was, he wasn't pastoring anymore, but he was taking people on trips. And that was very nice, because we went to the Holy Land twice, and we'd go on, you know, you see these big buses, we go on buses, and it was really good. So God really has favored me. You know, I mean, I praise the Lord for everything that I have. And like I said, then when he died, then here I was alone. I hate being alone. Let me tell you, if you get married, make it the best thing you ever could do. I think marriage is the most wonderful thing that God ever made on earth.